I'm Jonathan Little. Let's discuss how to not play Ace King offsuit at a table of maniacs while filming your first TikTok live.
Jonathan Little is a world-renowned professional poker player with over $7 million in lifetime earnings. He has literally written several books on how to play poker, and he provides poker coaching to many, many people. Here he's doing the high roller a huge favor and analyzing this horrible hand that I played at Socially Wild last week.
Be careful.
Just remember, it was my first time filming this stuff.
Under the gun limps. To limps. Middle position makes it 20. We decide to just call with the Ace King in the small blind, and you cannot do that. With Ace and King, you need to 3-bet almost every time, unless the razor is incredibly tight. Ace King's almost always the best hand, and it's very vulnerable to being outdrawn. Plus, whenever you do make top pair, and your opponent also has top pair, you want to be able to play a gigantic pot. And by calling, you keep the pot small, and that is not what you want. So either you win the pot pre-flop with a re-raise to something like $90, which is fine, or they give you action, which is also fine. We call, though. Let's see what develops. $10-7-6. Easy to suck out on the 10-7-6. This is not a good flop at all. We have an easy check and fold. Even though Ace-King is excellent before the flop, it is not good at all. 4 ways out of position on 10-7-6. We bet 30. You don't really want to be leading in general whenever you're playing very deep stacked, but if we did want to have some leads on 10-7-6, you'd want to lead with hands like 7-6 for a hand that's almost always good but very vulnerable to being outdrawn, 7-6 for 2 pair, and then also some hands like random gut shots that are not quite good enough to check and call. Hands like King 8, but Ace King does not want to bet. You just want to check and fold. We bet 30, 2 players call. Open-ended straight draw is definitely not going anywhere for a $30 bet. Turns a 3. Easy check fold, because again, a 10's never going to fold. A 7 or a 6 with any sort of gut shots, never going to fold. And even if we spike an ace or a king at this point, we could randomly be beat by hands like 7-6 or King 10. So, check fold. We bet 30 again. I don't see the purpose in this. I don't think any better hand is going to fold for a tiny bet of 30, and I don't think you're going to get called by very many worse hands either, unless they both just happen to have some sort of junky draw that also decides to not bluff you. Tricky 5-4 call with the straight. River's an ace. I actually like a bet on the river. In this scenario, we are very likely against busted draws and 10s, and some busted draws are going to be hands like ace 9 or ace 8, so you want to make a bet that a 10 can call or that an ace can call. So I think maybe a little bit bigger, something like 75 would or 80 would get a little bit more value, but you know, whatever. I like the idea of betting in this spot, because if you check, a lot of hands like ace 5 suited that had a gut shot will not bet the river, and a 10 will not bet the river, so I like going for some value. If you have watched any of my content on YouTube at youtube.com/pokercoaching, you will know that when you bet the river and get raised in a small or medium stakes game, unless your opponent is known to be insanely aggressive on the river, they almost always are drastically under bluffing, which means they almost always have the effective nuts, which means if you do not have the effective nuts, you should be getting out of the way. The option is to fold. Tough spot. Ace King is not good on this board with this action.